I love throwing in extra little bonus videos and fun, neat little things to show you. And I thought it would be really cool to, well, I'll tell you a quick little story. Someone that purchased 10-ton Dreamweaver wanted to know about how to set the height of a container such that the footer would move up and down, as we've seen a bunch of times already here together. And you know what? His name's Paul, and he actually kind of kicked me in the rear end to record this DVD. Because again, for the longest time, I've been kind of sitting on this going, I got to record this. I got to get myself into the recording studio and just do this so that people know how this works. And that kind of brought on the whole sort of discussion topic of showing people recording a tutorial and showing people how to create floating layouts and blah, 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 blah. So here we are. And in 10-ton Dreamweaver, the DVD there, we ran out of time. I didn't have enough time to get into creating floating divs, which I've always actually felt kind of bad about because I think it's important to know how to create layouts using floats. And I thought it would be super cool to record a bonus lesson for this DVD, which will show you how to recreate the layout that we create inside the 10-ton Dreamweaver DVD. We're going to create it from scratch here, all hand coding from scratch, and we're going to use floats. In the Dreamweaver DVD, we use a lot of positioning, a lot of relative positioning and things like this. So I hope you dig this. Let's dig into it. Now, if you have not seen 10-ton Dreamweaver, essentially what we have, if you can imagine, I was going to try and dig up the layout and show you the actual layout, but I can't seem to lay my hands on it. Essentially what it is there's a header across the top, there's a main content column in the middle, with a footer running across the bottom, and then on the outside edges, on the left side and on the right side, there are columns of boxes. There's 6 boxes in a perfect column going down the left-hand side and also going down the right-hand side. So we're going to build all this together. There's going to be a lot of divs. There's going to be a lot of ID selectors and rules and things like this. A little bit of code here. This is much more complicated than anything we've built so far during our time here together, but I think you're going to dig it. And again, I'm trying to keep the code as lean as possible, lean and mean code here. And you're going to see some new stuff, but you're also going to see some stuff that we've already talked about. So I'm going to get going right away here. Obviously, as always, I've got an empty HTML page, and I'm going to create a master div. We all know about that. Or, I'm sorry, not a master div, a master ID selector. And then down in the body area, I'm going to go and create my master div. Oh, if I could do this right. There we go. Something like that. Okay, beautiful. Take that closing div tag and move them down to the bottom. The master div that you and I just created is going to serve the same purpose as it has always served us all the way up until this point. So it's going to be the wrapper for the overall container, the overall layout. Okay, now we need a whole pile of additional rules inside our internal style sheet. We need a left sidebar. Go ahead and type that in. And we also need a class. So the left sidebar is an ID selector, so make sure his name is preceded by a number sign. A class is preceded by a period, as I'm sure you know. And we're going to create a left box class rule, just like that. I'm spacing these guys out, too, just so you can kind of keep track of them inside my code here. I'm going to create a main ID selector, and I'm going to create a content ID selector and a footer ID selector. 2 more here. A right sidebar and a right box. Beautiful. Okay. Now, after each of these guys, make sure to throw in your curly brackets. I didn't add my curly brackets in, so we want to have something like this, right? All the way down. Okay, beautiful. Now, we have the fun task of building. We've sort of outlined the rules that we want to use here, and this is as slim as I can get it here. Now what we need to do is build the ID, the div structure inside the body area of our document. So inside your master div, insert a header div. ID equals header. I didn't add a header to my list of rules up at the top here, did I? Bad me. Okay, so go, head back up to the top and add in a header. My bad. Okay, there we go. We're good. So one extra ID there inside your internal list of styles there. Sorry about that. I was kind of sitting there going, okay, I know I need to add a header, but I don't have a header at the top of my list of rules. Okay, there we go. There's our header there. Let's see here. I'm going to move my cursor down, and I'm going to go and insert another div. I'm doing some copying and pasting here just to speed things up. Left sidebar. Next guy down is going to be called main. Next guy down is going to be our right sidebar. Okay. And then, of course, I'm just going to close this up a bit, the closing div tag there. So, to recap, we have the master, we have the header, a left sidebar, the main content area, and the right sidebar. Now, what about the content and the footer and the right box and the left box? Well, those guys are going to be nested inside some of these other divs here. So I'm going to start off with my left sidebar here. What you may want to do here is just hit enter a couple of times, something like this. Again, this is going to be a little bit more complicated than anything we've sort of seen up until this point here. Inside the left sidebar, I'm going to go and insert another div, which is actually going to be under the control of a class rule, which is left box. Class equals left box. Okay, very good. Grab all that and copy it because we're going to need it. Inside the main div, we're going to insert two nested divs. So give yourself a little bit of room there. Two of these fellas in here. One of them is going to be content. The other one is going to be footer. Okay, great. And one more inside the right sidebar. That's where our right box is going to go. Perfect. Okay, there we go. I think that just about does it. In terms of the div structure there, it's a little bit more complicated, isn't it? And it gets kind of tricky to keep track of everything. Maybe what I'll do here for you is I'll throw in some tabs just so you can see sort of the structure that we have happening there. I don't know if that helps you or not, but there's the main there with his two nested divs. There's the right sidebar. There's the left sidebar there, and then the header at the top. The master wraps the whole darn thing together. Okay, good stuff. So I hope you are up for some properties now. We're going to throw in some properties for these guys, and we'll actually get this happening.